We should be streaming here in just a few moments. And for folks who are joining us online, welcome. And we have all kinds of information for you on this evening. One of the visions of our ministry, and for me personally, is to promote healing and deliverance through the power of prayer and faith around the world. But for 30 years, we were saying, why should you get well soon when you can get well right now? You are your best healthcare provider, taking care of yourself, especially in the climate that we're in now, where healthcare costs are high, pharmaceuticals are high, and there's all kinds of potential to get sick. So the goal is to stay well. And if you do get sick, then the goal is to get you recovered as quickly as possible. I heard one of our presenters saying that your body is designed to heal itself. And in the right environment, with the right food and the right care, you can self-heal. So hopefully you will get some information today. I believe you will. That's going to help you. This is our inaugural wellness weekend. If you haven't already, please be sure to check in before you go with our RNs to get your weight and your height and your blood pressure, your heart rate, and your oxygen. Those vitals are being checked, and I think they'll also give you your BMI, which is your body mass index, and they'll give you some good information. We've got some professionals out there. They are not just people who talk about wellness, but they are doing it. They're involved in the medical industry as registered nurses. So they've done all of their due diligence to be who they are. And we've got some wellness experts. I think they're experts who are here on this evening. Bianca Rivers is here to talk about herbs. She has her own business, belovedelderberry.com, and she has a vast array of wellness products on her website that can help you. I have been using Beloved Elderberry products for quite a number of years now, and sea moss, elderberry juice, bladderwrack, I like saying that word, bladderwrack, other herbs and different things like that. I learned about oregano oil, which is amazing, a natural antibiotic, and she'll be talking about those kinds of things. If you have questions, write those questions down on the handouts that we provided for you, and you'll be able to ask those questions. Also, Josh Atkins is here. He has his own Fitness by Faith business, and he is certainly a practitioner, and he's going to share with you some ways that you can get fit at home, even if you don't have a gym membership. Although gym memberships nowadays are not as expensive as they used to be when that kind of thing first came on the scene. It was anywhere from $35 to $40 a month or more to have a gym membership. Now, there are some gyms out there for as little as $10 a month. But you are investing in your health. It had been said if everybody who has a gym membership at the gym you are a member of showed up at the same time, you wouldn't have room to work out. That is to say that not everybody who purchases a gym membership actually uses it. And so there are all kinds of things out here to help you. We want you to be healthy. God wants you to be healthy. And it takes some work. When we talk about workouts, that's why we call it work. Because workouts are fun, but the longer you do them and the more consistent you are, it does become something that's a workout. You may not want to do it some days. You may not want to work out, but we need to do that. All right? The body gets stronger by use. And then we have Yvette Williams here with us on today, and I met her and Mike. Well, I knew Mike, but met Yvette this year, and they introduced me to the LifeWave patch, which is light therapy healing, which she is excited about. I also see her from time to time over at Planet Fitness. And so light therapy is being talked about with this particular product, and then there's some others out there. But you are going to be blessed on today with all of the information that we have to share. So we're going to get right to it. And I want to encourage you to take care of yourself. I want to encourage you to work out 3 times a week, at least 30 minutes. But if you can do 15 minutes or 15 or 20 or 30 minutes, get moving. Get moving. I like to walk each day. Today I didn't get a chance to because I was doing so much. But my goal was a 5K a day a couple of years ago. And so I do at least 5K is about 3.1 miles or so. So I do that every day, 7 days a week. And then this year my goal was a double K a day, but my average is 4 miles a day. So we're working towards that. But what I have learned is the more you do it, your body acclimates itself to physical fitness. Your body acclimates itself to the demand. And the more you do it, the better you're going to feel, the more resilient you're going to be, and the more durable you're going to be. We want to be durable throughout the day. If you trip over something, or in the Midwest we have snow and ice, if you slip, you're going to have a better chance of staying on your feet because you're exercising, you're moving, and making sure you're taking care of yourself. So our first presenter on today is Bianca Rivers, and she's going to come and take my place here and talk about the benefits of her products. I think elderberry is the one that is the signature of her particular company, but she's going to share with us for the next 20 minutes about some of the things that she's doing.
All right. Hello, everyone. So first of all, thank you for letting me come and share about herbs and herbal health, and just making sure that you're doing what you can do in a tangible way so that you can be healthy. So the first thing I want to start off with a scripture, and it says, it's from Psalm 104:14, and it says, "He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth." So in this particular verse, it's telling us that the Lord has given us herbs for the service of man. And sometimes I do not know if people take that literal or not, but it needs to be taken literal. There's another verse, and it comes out of Revelations 22:2, and it says, "Down the middle of the main street of the city, on either side of the river, stood a tree of life, bearing 12 kinds of fruit, and yielding a fresh crop for each month. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations." Again, I'm not sure. We read that, we hear that, but are we taking it literally? I'm here to encourage you today to take it literally because it is the truth. So the way that I kind of got into herbs, when I think about it, like how did you get into this? But when I think about it, my grandfather, he had a garden. And he always took care of his garden. He had the different teas and things, mints that he would grow, and he would always lay it out. And so if we got sick with something, we knew to go over to Grandma and Granddaddy's house, and they were going to give us something, and it was going to help us feel better. So I think that is how I got into it. But what I want to say is that because I had anemia, and I was trying to get, the doctor would try to give me these iron pills that were not working at all. They constipate you. They cause more problem than good. So found out that this little berry, elderberry, it can help you. So I started taking that and taking some other herbs along with it, and it has not been a problem since. When I go and get my blood work, that's something that I'm always very curious to get my numbers for. I just went about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and my numbers and my levels were normal. And I know that it has to do with the fact that there's a lot of different herbs and things that I put into my regimen on a regular basis to make sure that I am taking what the Lord has given, those leaves, those things, to put into my system, the fruit, the berries, so that I can get what my body needs. Because again, it has been given to us for our service. They're for the service of man. So Minister Denitra had a question here, and she said, what are some of the herbs for lymphedema? So I have a group, and last week, well, 2 weeks ago, we started a wellness challenge for November. And in that challenge, I wanted to start off with giving people knowledge about the lymphatic system, because it's a system that not many people talk about, but it is an extremely important system in our body. We have more lymph in our body than we have blood. We know that that life is in the blood, but lymph helps to clean out our system. So if our lymph isn't moving properly, if our lymph is backed up, it causes inflammation, it causes different things. So when it comes to herbs for lymphedema and just making sure that your lymph is regulated and moving in the right way, you want to go to things like red clover. So red clover is an amazing herb. You can find it anywhere. I'm telling you, you go out and you're going to see your red clover. I live in an area where there's a trail that we can walk through, and it's fields of red clover. And I always tell my kids, I say, oh, people just don't know the treasure that's missed, that they are overlooking. So sometimes I go out there and I pick my my red clover, and I'm trying to get my children to understand that these things are here, again, for what? For the service of man. So another really good herb for lymphedema and getting lymph to move properly is cleavers. Cleavers is another very common plant that you see growing, and you probably just don't recognize it, but cleavers help to get that lymph moving. Another thing to think about is ginger. So ginger helps to it basically heats up your body, but what that does, it gets that liquids in your system moving and regulating. So those are three that are very good for lymphedema. Another question she had here is for inflammation. What's good for inflammation? So there's some go-tos that I think that you should definitely incorporate. Ginger is one of those. Again, ginger heats, ginger moves. Ginger is going to help you get that inflammation out of your system. Another one is going to be Rebouding, and where you find that is in pineapple. So when you think about pineapples, we all buy pineapples. I like pineapple, at least. We buy the pineapple, we throw the skin of the pineapple away and the core of the pineapple away. Well, don't do that, because the skin and the core has the most and the highest level of the Rebouding that you need. So what you're going to do, you're going to wash off that skin really good. You're going to then put it in a pot of your boiling water, and that with the core, and you make a tea out of it. And you drink that. Drink that consistently. That helps to pull out inflammation. I make what I call pineapple turmeric zing, and that is something that's actually in there. But again, it's going to help and fight that inflammation in your body. Another thing is going to be your Ceylon cinnamon. Cinnamon is a powerhouse when it comes to inflammation, when it comes to matters of the heart, when it comes to those types of things. So not the some of the stores don't have the Ceylon cinnamon. They have another type of cinnamon. You want Ceylon to really help with that inflammation. Another wonderful one for inflammation is going to be your turmeric, okay? Turmeric powder or turmeric root. For the root and the powder, you can make it into a tea. But when you do turmeric, in order to activate the curcumin, which is what is actually pulling the inflammation out of your system, you want to add black pepper to it, okay? The black pepper activates that curcumin that is actually in the turmeric. There has been studies shown that, you know, in the Indian population, they do a lot of curry and they do a lot of things with turmeric, and it, like dementia and Alzheimer's, is like extremely low in that population, and many times they credit that to the amount of turmeric that they consume on a regular basis. So that's good for inflammation. Now, bedtime and sleep. I actually had this problem for a little bit, and I figured it out. So magnesium If you are having a hard time with sleeping, please ask your doctor to check your magnesium levels, okay? People don't understand how important and vital magnesium level is for so many reasons in the body. It might be that your magnesium is off. If it is something simple that you can do, or you can come to somebody like me that does it and do it for you, but the magnesium, you want to get magnesium flakes, and you will do equal part magnesium flakes to equal part water, hot water. All you're gonna do is put, so if I'm using a 16 ounce of magnesium flakes, 16 ounce of magnesium flakes to 16 ounce of hot water, shake it up, let it sit for about 2 days, and then all you're gonna do is strain the flake out, and then you're gonna use the water. The water you're gonna spray underneath your feet, you're gonna spray it like underneath your arm. That helps to absorb that magnesium in your body the most effective way. So that's one thing. You can also get the creams, you know, there's different people that sell that, but you can get that as well. So that's the first thing I say when people tell me that they are having issues with sleeping. The other thing is to use what we call in the herbal side, is nervine herbs. So nervine herbs help to relax the nervous system. When your mind is going, when your nerves are just like not balanced the way that they need to be, that's normally another reason why you're not sleeping. So some herbs for that would be your chamomile. I think that's a common one that a lot of people know. Another one would be your lavender. Passion flower is another one that will help you sleep, and something called holy basil. Holy basil is a go-to. My kids love it. I have a tea called Calm and Chill Blend, and it has a mix of several different herbs that are nervines. My son, he now goes in, he knows where I keep it. He makes it on his own. He knows it's going to help him relax, and it does. It helps him go to sleep, and it's not bad for children. A lot of people, you know, they will take melatonin. Well, it's, you know, I have my own thoughts on that, but this is a more natural way to do it so that your body can produce the melatonin that it needs. Another thing for sleep is tart cherry juice. Tart cherry juice helps your body to naturally produce the melatonin that you need to go to sleep. And then, if you have a TV in your room, turn it off. That's another thing. Oh, I can't sleep. Well, it's probably because you have that blue light. The blue light is affecting your sleep pattern. So if you have a TV in your room, I mean, I'd say take it out. But if you're not going to take it out, you need to turn it off at least an hour to 2 hours before you're going to go to bed. It helps just with the natural rhythms of your body to get you ready and set and prepared for sleep. Blue light is a big disruptor of sleep patterns. So that'll help with sleep. Another common thing I know that many got checked for over there is blood pressure. High blood pressure runs rapid, especially in the Black community. It has a lot to do with our diets. We got to watch what we're eating. I'm a big proponent of eating a high fruit, high vegetable diet because it helps our systems to clean out, detox the way that it needs to. But for blood pressure, beets. I'm not even looking at my notes, but beets. So beets are high in nitrates, and nitrates are what your body needs to help open those blood vessels, because blood pressure is, your blood vessels are tight. The blood can't get through the way it needs to. So you need something to help relieve that, to help open that. So beets are going to be one of the real big things for that in regards to what you can eat. So for herbs, hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berry is amazing when it comes to high blood pressure. It also is amazing when it comes to any matters of the heart. So heart palpitations, if you have anything that your doctor is telling you you need some help with the heart, I totally advise that you would take hawthorn berry, because the berry and the leaf, again, what are herbs here for? The service of man. They will help to serve your heart well and to get the health impact that you need. Also, hawthorn berry helps to lower your cholesterol and triglycerides, so it helps to balance out that high cholesterol level. It's going to bring it into balance. I already mentioned Ceylon cinnamon. And then berries, just berries in general, raspberries, blueberries, as many berries as you can put into your system. They are antioxidants, anti-inflammatory. Again, what is blood pressure? Is your blood is not able to go through. You need something to open that air, those systems up, open that up, and that's going to help to do that. Ceylon cinnamon, ginger. Another one for blood pressure is going to be your nettle. Nettle helps also in that regards, but nettle is excellent for iron, and it's also excellent for male health issues in regards to prostate and things of that nature too. Does anybody have any specific questions? Yes, ma'am. Nettle, Nettle, nettle. And nettle is another very common plant. We can walk probably over there where this field is, and we could identify several stinging nettle plants. Any other questions? Oh, I didn't talk about my favorite one, but yes, ma'am. So yes, nettle is a leaf. So yes, you would brew it into a tea. So yes, but you can also get it in capsule format. I'm a big proponent of tea though. It just gets into your system in a deeper level. So yes, you can get it in a tea format. Oh, and like I said, I didn't talk about my favorites. So elderberry, that's like my signature. Like I said, that's what I started with. Elderberry is an amazing herb, and it's something that you don't have to take it year round, but in this time of the year, you need to be taking elderberry, because what it does, it helps to block virus that's coming into your body. If it comes into your body, it basically just attacks it. So it helps to get the virus and get whatever the yucky stuff is out of your system. That and echinacea, if you pair those, you have a winning combo to help you fight off things. Another common herb that a lot of people use this time of year when it comes to like your turkeys and your dressings and things of that nature is thyme. That is an amazing herb around this time to fight off cold and to fight off virus. All you have to do is take your sprigs, put them into your mug, pour you some hot water over it, steep it, and drink. Very easy. And I don't know if I mentioned cayenne pepper, but cayenne pepper is another winner that we all should be taking. That's another one for heart issues. It would actually stop a heart attack. If someone has a heart attack, actually I carry it in my purse. I know that might sound strange, but I do. I carry it in my purse. It's something that you should be taking on a regular basis. The way I do it is just in the morning. I put a couple of sprinkles of my cayenne pepper, ginger, and turmeric with honey and hot water, and just drink it. It's going to help your digestion. It's going to help, again, with your heart. It helps to regulate healthy blood pressure. Where I'm at in time. I don't want to go over. All right. Okay, in 5 minutes, the next thing that I'll talk about real quickly that I get a lot of questions on is gut health. Your gut is your second brain. Your gut speaks to your brain, so it affects your mood, it affects your affect. So you want to take care of your gut. Fermented foods are good for that. Sauerkraut, that's an excellent one that you can begin to consume to help with your gut health. I know Landon is like, ugh, it does not taste that great, but just take a teaspoon. A teaspoon a day does a lot. Another thing for herbs for gut, slippery elm is going to be a wonderful one. It coats the gut. It helps to make sure that you're getting what needs to be done in that gut. Another herb would be marshmallow root for your gut, and licorice root. These are wonderful for gut health. I also want to tell you that if you have a problem with like gas and bloating, a common herb you probably have in your cabinet, or one that is not expensive to go get, is fennel seed. So fennel seed, you know what they put in sausage and, to give it a nice flavor? Fennel seed is wonderful. If you ever have bloating, gas issues, all you have to do is take about a half of a teaspoon. You can eat it. You can actually eat it. And then that will help to relieve that. If you're someone that, constantly has like heartburn or bloating after you eat, just eat that before you eat your meal, and it'll help to curb that bloating and that gas. You can also make it into a tea. So again, we have so many common things we use as spices that we don't always know are here for what? Our service, the service of man, to help us in our healing path. So just know that those are the things that are here for you, and I hope that you learned something today, and I appreciate the time.
All right, let's give it up for Bianca Rivers. Yeah. So Wellness Weekend 2025, and hopefully you got checked in. Our RNs are here. Tammy RN, Shauna RN, Amanda RN. She had something that was going on, so she couldn't be here for this one. But this is so important, like I said, with skyrocketing healthcare premiums and all kinds of different things going on. All of our folks are going to come back for question and answer at the end, and we'll kind of put some things out there so that they can answer questions about that. But please be sure you get your vitals checked. When you go to the ER, or if you go get an annual physical, some of the things that they check are your weight, your height, they check your heart rate, they check your blood pressure before anything else is done. So those are the kind of things that we're monitoring this time around to make sure that you are good to go. All right. Next up is Josh Atkins. He's also Deacon Josh Atkins, but tonight he's Josh, and he is fit, and he has his own business he's going to tell you about, and he's going to give you some real, very basic ways. If you don't have a gym membership, even if you do, some basic ways that you can get fit at home. Come on, put your hands together for Josh Atkins.
Good evening, everybody. Want to first thank Pastor Jackson for putting this on. This is actually very, very important. That I think is a very underrated thing in our society, is being in regards to your health. The Bible talks about how God delights in the details of our lives, and health and fitness is a very important thing of that. So from screenings to physical fitness to holistic things, all the herbs and spices and everything that you need really helps you to get to that point. So a little about me. I started in the fitness industry probably technically 15 plus years ago. I was actually the big kid growing up. Everybody, talked about how, oh yeah, you're just big boned, you're not just heavy, but I was actually, just physically out of shape. And that had to do with activity, but also a combination of the food that I was putting into my body. So as I got older and I started learning more things, one of the things that I wanted to do was take ownership of how I look and how I feel. So that's when I started going into there and getting more involved in sports. And then as I got older and got into college and graduated college, that's when I became a personal trainer at my place where Fueled by Faith Fitness Academy. That's an online gym right now. That's where you can learn, which is the biggest thing that I want everybody to do, which is why the academy part is important. Because we always talk about getting personal trainers and someone pushing you and things of that nature, but the biggest thing is being able to push yourself. So with that, that's where the academy part kind of came into play, because I wanted people to be able to go in, learn, see the exercises, learn things. If they have questions, always reach out and not just necessarily see it as, okay, this person killed me in the gym or killed me at home, and now all of a sudden now I have to and now I just don't learn anything. Or if I decide, hey, a personal trainer is a little bit more expensive now, and I can no longer do it, that you regress to whatever progress that you may or may not have. You can kind of just build on that progression. Um, so the Bible also talks about the body being a temple. And with that, we have to fuel it in the right way, whether it's through food, whether it's through exercise, and anything of that nature. Even now, like society is built off convenience, even from cars or, all the bills that you used to go out and spend hours to pay. Now you can just do it on the convenience in your phone. It's made it to where our society is a lot more sedentary. We have so many work from home jobs now, which again, all of that is great. All that really helps our society grow and develop. But at the same time, it makes it a lot more challenging to stay physically fit. And there are so many things that you can do, not just in a gym setting, but also at home. There's resistance bands that can be purchased. There's dumbbell weights or weights. Some people even have a whole setup of a gym at home. But of course, that comes with a little bit of cost. But there's also things like body exercises and stuff like that. Getting into high intensity training or HIIT workouts, as people also are familiar with. Those type of things are things that you can do both in a gym setting and also outside of a gym setting. So it's one of those things where Pastor mentioned it earlier, where he talked about 30 minutes for 3 times a week can make all the difference. And some people, they may say, well, I may have 30 minutes, I may not. The biggest thing that I always try to encourage for those that just feel like they don't have any time to do anything, even if you start with 5 minutes and just build up from that. And that could be 5 minutes every day, periodically. It's just building up, just like how we build up our prayer life. You don't necessarily start, praying for hours at a time. You build up that over time. So just taking those little baby steps and doing what this called as a progressive overload, as we call it in the fitness industry, and you're just progressively overloading those type of things into your life. So then you'll look up and you may say, hey, you know what, this gym and fitness life isn't that bad, so maybe I will work out 4 times a week or 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. Or some people, that's how they get into training for mini marathons, or that's when they get into physique modeling and all sorts of that. But it all just starts of taking that initial step and telling yourself like, okay, I do have time. It's just, how do I utilize my time in the best way? And you'd be surprised. Can be simple things like, okay, I'm not going to be on my phone 5 minutes less in the morning or in the afternoon, the evening, or whatever of that nature. And that's 5 minutes that could go towards your fitness. It could be simple things. It doesn't mean that you have to do like this crazy extravagant workout. It could be like, okay, well, I have time to do some push-ups or crunches, sit-ups, things of that nature. Things that can be done both, like I said, at any setting. It's just all about just getting yourself in the right place, both mentally and physically, to be able to do so. Another thing that I also thought about too is, being consistent. So a lot of times that we get into this fitness life, we're like, okay, I'm doing great. Maybe it's a New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose about 30 pounds about 2 days, and then I'm going to look great for the beach. And you look up and you're like, okay, I'm already on day 2, and I'm like, this actually kind of hurts. I don't want to do this anymore. Or, in a normal lifestyle for most adults, I have a job, I have kids, I have other miscellaneous things that I have to that I'm responsible for to do. So maybe that's not an ideal, realistic situation. So that's where, again, you kind of draw back and kind of, like I mentioned before, like maybe 5 minutes, and then you build up to 10 and so on and so forth. And you kind of integrate that into your life. Because I do believe that the Lord is very good about allowing us to be able to bring those things and meeting us where we are at different times of our life. So you may look at and say, well, I don't have an hour or I don't have 30 minutes to do this now, but maybe if I just build and do what I can over time, then you'll look up and the lifestyle just changes right before your eyes. Even with my own fitness journey, because I had times where I've gained a lot of weight, lost a lot of weight, gained a lot of weight, lost a lot of weight. And it's been one of those things where I've had those challenges throughout the year, kind of like I mentioned before, or throughout my lifestyle. So to kind of give you an idea of how that went, so I'm a former college athlete, went to Anderson University, and I wanted to play running back, and that was my goal and expectation for myself. Well, at the current time, I was at a community college, and I was probably about 40 pounds more than I weigh now. And as a running back, you got to be able to run, and I couldn't do that. So we had a big problem there. Like, I got to be in a very good amount of shape, and I have to be able to, endure any type of physical activity that it may bring, from getting tackled and learning all these different things. So what I kind of did in that time was I sought the Lord and, cried and prayed and said, Lord, I need something that the way to get in shape without it being causing me to get, have harm to myself, like losing too much weight too quick, or getting sick, or not eating enough, or eating too much. So what he did is he kind of really just mapped out that plan for me. And before I knew it, within like a 2-month span, I lost about roughly 30 pounds. And then before I know it, I was actually playing football in college. I transferred college. To be honest, like, the pictures don't do it justice from how I was even feeling, because even at the time when I was working, I would just walk around and couldn't stop breathing, or I was sweating, stretch marks, you name it. So when I finally lost that weight, that's where things just really kind of changed, both in my life and then everybody around me. Because I do believe that the weight can be a burden more than just a physical thing, but also a mental thing. A lot of times we stress ourselves on, like, oh my gosh, I have to lose this weight, or this is going on, or I have this pain problem in my back, or I have shoulder problem and stuff like that. And a lot of that really can be solved with just regular activity, rather it's daily or 3 times a week, whatever the case may be for your lifestyle. It can make all the difference. Some of the things that we have to be able to do even in older ages, whether we get to our 60s or 70s, 80s, is we're wanting to be able to walk, without too much assistance if it can be avoided. Being able to lift probably about maybe like a 10-pound box or something like that, something small to where basically we can perform any function in our body that is just the average person normally can do. So if you can't do those things and it has something to do with either weight or just being out of shape in any form, that can be a problem. So the biggest thing that we want to do is how are we able to get ourselves to be able to do that on a regular basis without issue, or, hey, I lifted this small box and now my back is hurting for the next 2 or 3 weeks, or, oh, there's a jar in the kitchen and I have trouble opening it. Being able to just simply be able to open that versus, calling Deacon Josh and say, hey, I know you got a lot of muscles. Can you please open this jar? So being able to do that is just highly important. And like I said, it doesn't have to mean that you have to have a gym, like go to the gym on a regular basis. Things can be done at home. Things that can be very important is also the hydration part. So typically, most people that you talk to don't get enough water, and it's usually associated with the hotter climate. So when we're getting into the summer, and one of the things that I kind of stress on is hydration should be done all the time, especially in the winter time, because now your body's not giving up enough heat or the thermodynamic type of components into your life as fast. So you have to do a little bit more to make that happen. So this is a perfect time to be able to absorb all of that now. So that way, when the summer does hit, you're not the one that seems like, oh my gosh, I'm always cramping, or my lips are always chapped, or, just something's always off the second that we switch from spring to summer. Um, so doing that on a regular basis, by staying hydrated, based off body weight and stuff like that. But I always shoot for me personally, trying to at least get a gallon of water a day. And the first thing that people think is, there's no way I'm getting a gallon of water. You out of your mind. That's a lot. That's a lot of water. I'm going to be using the restroom. Feel like I'm 3 years old again. Like, can't be done. So the biggest thing that I kind of stress is start early. So it's one of those things. There's so many different things out there. You can get a gallon jug that some people carry around. I have my 32 ounce that I carry on a regular basis. But there's so many different things that you can do to try to do that. But the biggest thing that I encourage is kind of starting early. So if you're a person that's an early bird and you wake up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning, then what's wrong with getting a little water to start your day? You know, so there's so many different things that help with doing that on a regular basis, because it helps with mental clarity. Again, you're getting it regulated, with bowels and using the restroom early and stuff like that. And then, of course, the hydration component, because now that water is able to get into your cells and has everything's kind of waking up, kind of like how a car, actually a lot how a car would operate. If you're not putting those things into your body and putting the right things to make it move, then the check engine light's gonna cut on. And it's really kind of more of a matter of time. So, and it doesn't really have like an age limit, even though we're more associated with it in our early ages. So to avoid that, start early, be proactive, versus reactive. One of the things just in my life that I try to stress for is I want to go to the doctor more for check-in maintenance versus I have to. So as I get older and I'm understanding those things that I want to do, I know that I need to continue to stay physically fit. And I also encourage that with other people. So rather it's, like I said, a gym membership or buying equipment at home, those things are things that you can do to try to put a more of investment, an early investment into your health and your life before a doctor has to tell you, hey, you have this going on, you have that going on. I need you to start going to the gym X amount of days per week. So just being more proactive versus reactive. But that's pretty much it. Is there any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Um, yes. So it really depends. Like, you really have to kind of go by brand. But I will say from my own experience and then from what I've seen. So typically the cheaper the water, the more chemicals have been involved in it because it's more convenient. And then it's kind of almost doing like a push-pull method where it's like, yes, I'm pulling myself into hydration, but I'm also pushing away and dehydrating myself at the same time. So my personal favorite, so when I feel like going to the gas station to get one, is Fiji water. So yes, it's a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's something that I love. It has all that alkaline. It has what the body needs to help fuel it, and a lot of the ones that are around that particular category will help you. Because again, it's easy to say, okay, well, let me just get this random bottle of water, not really realizing how much it has gone into it to get it purified. Because the purification of the water is what really kind of sticks out importantly. So, I think we had a question here too. Oh, yes. Yes, I can. So there's a few exercises that you can kind of do at home. And again, some require some equipment, some don't. But I'll kind of give you a little bit of a demonstration. Thank you. So one of the things here we have is our resistance bands. And as you can see, even with my muscles, this is not really moving very far. And that is because it's designed that way. And these are kind of color coordinated, and so I will thank my wife for how pretty they look. Um, but each of them typically, they're color coordinated based off resistance. So one might give you 5 pounds of resistance, one might give you 10 pounds, 15, 20, etc. So you really want to kind of find what works for you and just build up and go from there. So, you know, you don't want to throw in one that kind of gives you resistance of 20 pounds early and then not be able to do it. So with that, there are a few exercises that you can do, and I'll kind of demonstrate. So with this one, you kind of put it over your legs just like this. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yep, thank you. Okay. And so like this, so with this, there's a few exercises you can do. So even with this, you can get yourself in a nice base form and you can squat. And you can either hold the squat, lift the squat. You can also do what I call duck walks. So that's kind of where you go forward a little bit. You can come back, side to side. You know, you can make a dance routine out of it. So you can put on some music, and it'll kind of help you with that. So and also, one of my favorite ones is the ab wheel. So a lot of people, as soon as they see this little wheel, they are getting extremely intimidated. But I promise you, it is not as bad as it looks and appears. The biggest thing is just doing what's comfortable and going as far as you can. So for the beginners, we typically start on the knees. So I do not have a pad right now, but typically what you want is some type of yoga mat, something of that nature, to where you can comfortably be on your knees and perform the exercise without the first thing going is, oh, my knees hurt. Then now mentally, oh, my back hurts too, my shoulders, and then all of a sudden you're like, forget it, I don't want to do it at all. So I'll demonstrate the beginner's one of it. So kind of explain what I did. So it was what is called an ab wheel rollout. And with that, basically like you saw, you want to get yourself in you go on your knees and you kind of put yourself in a stable form, and you really want to focus on tightening your core, because that's the biggest component too. Because sometimes people will just roll out there and then all of a sudden their hips give out or something, and then that's where you kind of say, okay, this is not working, this is hurting. So kind of like what I did is you roll out, you go accordingly, you go as far as you can. Now, how I went was a little bit further than normal people will probably go, and that's fine. It's just all about building up to that. And then as you get more comfortable, then you start adding the reps, or then you start adding more sets, something that something that you can do, like again at home. And like I said, I don't need to run to the gym to do this. You just buy this one, you buy this, and then there you go. Another one is a jump rope. So I want to probably don't demonstrate that too much just because I don't want to swing around and hit anything, but simple jump rope exercises can make a difference. And this can also be for resistance, and this also can be, biggest thing is heart health. So now you're kind of getting into the cardio phase of the exercises. So with that, swinging the jump rope, even doing 5 to 10 minutes a day, you'll start feeling a difference because you're getting yourself acclimated to being, again, physically fit on a regular basis. You're getting yourself a chance to actually, build up that respiratory system and stuff like that. So, again, we're talking a lot of times in the winter times where everything starts getting clogged up and congested. This is a perfect way to open up those pores. Kind of get that way of getting the junk out without always having to say, well, let me see what I got in this medicine cabinet, grab my Robitussin real quick and try to get myself back to get myself back. This will be, this is one of those things where it's a very important thing. Another thing with that that we want to consider, since I mentioned, grabbing medicines and stuff like that, is being physically fit and being active on a regular basis also can help try to be proactive on those sick weeks or those times where you kind of get sick and maybe you're around a lot of kids or you're just out and about and stuff like that and it's easy to catch things. This will actually help with that immune system to kind of really help your body avoid trying to get as sick as best as possible. Even from my own experience, I rarely do get sick. And then when I do, maybe a couple days tops. And that's because I'm already active. My body's already going. So it knows, okay, something's wrong, and it sends all the different cells that need to handle business and everything so that way I can get back to feeling normal. Or I don't get to a point where it's like, hey, I'm overly sick. I have to just stay bedridden, if that makes sense.
All right, come on, let's give it up for Josh. Fueled by Faith Fitness Academy, for those of you who want to sign up for what he is doing. Our last presenter is going to talk about light therapy, something you may not have heard about, but is more popular, the X39 patch. And Yvette and Mike introduced me to it. I've been wearing the patch for more than 3 months. It helped to accelerate hamstring injury that I had. So I'm very, very grateful. How many of y'all know your blood type? Raise your hand real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about half of the folks here. Knowing your blood type is helpful in that there are certain foods, the antigens in your blood responds to either poorly or in a good way. And so depending on your blood type is the kind of diet that you want to make sure that you are on. And there are products on Amazon, if you don't already know from your primary doctor. A lot of times you go in and you get a physical and they draw blood, but they don't automatically tell you what your blood type is unless you ask them to do that. And unfortunately, some of these things that Bianca and Josh talked about, they're very basic things that people just don't tell us. And so that's part of what this is all about, to make sure that you know what's going on. Eat right for your blood type, and you can lose weight just through eating the right kind of foods and allowing your body to process that food because of the kind of blood that you have. There are some foods that if you eat it, your blood does, the antigens in your blood responds to it poorly, causes inflammation and different things like that. And just stop eating those kinds of foods will help you to lose weight and to reduce inflammation. All right, so we got Yvette coming to talk about the X39 patch. Come on, put your hands together for Yvette Williams.
Thank you, everybody. And I just wanted to piggyback and say thank you, Pastor, for allowing us the opportunity to come and share this holistic natural technology to keep our bodies in the health and wellness game. So my name is Yvette Williams, just briefly a nurse for 34 years. When I got sick with long haul COVID, during the peak of COVID-19, it displaced me from the bedside. And my actual search for looking to holistic remedies to get better physically and mentally and emotionally took me on a search to find what I needed to recover and optimize my health. And so one of my business partners, Mr. Collins, he said, hey, Yvette, I got something for you to look at. I know you'll get it because it's about stem cell rejuvenation. So I did a deep dive, looked at the advanced practice and the evidence-based practice with this company, and it opened up a phenomenal journey down the health and wellness realm for me. Just very briefly, I suffered from excruciating migraines, joint pain, insomnia, anxiety, depression, you name it. Pretty much every system in my body just went haywire with COVID-19 because of the comorbidities I was already dealing with prior to COVID-19. And so I came into the nanotechnology, which is a way to reactivate our own body stem cells completely natural via phototherapy. And all phototherapy is just certain light that creates change in our body. You guys maybe see the Sonabella commercials where they got them all hooked up and they got those little things with the infrared lighting, you know, to help, you know, adipose tissue, fat tissue, help dissolve that. Well, this technology is a little different. This little patch that you wear 12 hours a day, take it off, throw it away, put on a new patch. But like they say, the importance of hydration is essential because, as you guys know, we are the most miraculous bioelectric creation in the world because God created us. And our whole body is comprised of different signals that go to different cells for different reasons. Well, this technology is a specific peptide. And what peptides are just the messaging components in our body to tell our cells what we need to do to optimize our health. So there is a specific peptide called the GHCKU copper peptide that increases with this patch, and it sends a message to our stem cells to reactivate and rejuvenate. Because I don't know if anybody knows the importance of stem cells, and just to put it in a very blank, no stem cells, no life. Anything living and breathing is stem cell related because our stem cells start everything in the body. That is the building blocks to every system, every tissue, every organ, eyes, ears, head, toe, elbows, starts with the stem cell. And what we do not know is at age 30, 50% of our stem cells go dormant just by turning 30. And by the time we reach 60, we have over 90% of our own body's healing mechanisms that are dormant. So over 90% of our own body's capacity to heal and recover our bodies from disease, illness, surgery, or dormant. That's why when we age quicker and we heal slower because our own natural mechanism, which is the stem cell, are dormant. So this technology, it is activated by the infrared lighting in our body, hits the nanocrystals in the core of this patch, and it mirrors back into our body, telling our GHKCU copper peptide to elevate, and thus that is what allows our body to reactivate and rejuvenate our own body stem cells to help us heal and recover completely, naturally. And having your stem cells on board to help you fight. You have excellent sleep. I've been insomniac all my life, never had quality of sleep. And what people don't know, that quality REM sleep between at least 6 and 8 hours, that is a natural way to help our bodies restore and rejuvenate while we're sleeping. But we have to get a quality sleep in order to do that. So with this technology, it helps with sleep quality. It helps with mental clarity, brain coherence, because the things we suffer with now, mental health is the new pandemic, and the labels with autism, ADHD, PTSD, schizophrenia, dementia, that is due to an overactive brain. Our brain is in hyperactive mode, and it is due to inflammation in our brain. And so these patches help our bodies get back into homeostasis and gets all of our hormones, all of our essential functionings back to maximize our health and our wellness. And it also increases collagen, decreases inflammation, helps us be able to perform with physical activity more effectively, and it also helps us recover faster when we are doing, exercise and working out. Our stem cells have the capacity to allow us to recover from that a lot faster. This technology also, it just helps with every organ, every system in the body. This technology is very sophisticated, but to explain how to use it is very simple. You take one of these patches, you put it anywhere on your body. Now, if you have an area that you're dealing with joint pain or just any pain in general, put the patch directly on that site. On 12 hours, off 12 hours. Like they say, you must stay hydrated, because our signaling capacity with our body, we need to be hydrated so those signals will be able to travel to our cells. And just like they spoke, if we're not hydrated, if we don't have the proper nutrients and minerals that are going into our body, we will not sustain and we will not optimize our health. And another thing is, if your cells are not hydrated, then the supplements that she's given, you're not going to get the full potential of that, because your cells are hydrated and they are damaged, and then you don't have the capacity to rejuvenate and reactivate your stem cells, because this technology is only 5 years old. Light therapy related to stem cell therapy was back in the 1970s with a doctor called Lauren Picard. He knew the value of light as far as activating our stem cells. And we know the value of light because God is light, and everything light gives life. And this technology came from biblical codes in the Bible and codes from nature. And the inventor and scientist, David Smith, said it's God's blueprint to get our bodies back in the game, to allow us to be able to heal and recover the way God designed us to. But until we have the technology to wake up our stem cells completely natural, it is here. It is a patented technology for the next 15 years. There were 10 years of clinical studies and trials, $4.5 million of his own money to get this technology out amongst people. And actually, briefly, it started with the Navy SEALs. The government commissioned him to make an energy patch for the Navy SEALs to keep them woke, keep them alert, keep them at their peak performance without any drugs, without any chemicals or stimulants. And so that was in 2004. And then he said, hey, everybody needs this technology. So he went to work, and 10 years later, he came out with the X39 stem cell rejuvenation patch. And what these patches do not do is diagnose, treat, heal, cure, or mitigate any disease or illness. But what this patch does is gives us the light pathway to be able to elevate peptides and be able to elevate and reactivate our own body stem cells completely natural. Anybody got any questions about stem cell rejuvenation? Because quality of life matters. It's not quantity, because without the quality of life, I was not interested in, actually living, because I was surviving. I was not thriving. I was not thriving mentally. I was not thriving physically. I was not thriving emotionally, because my body had pretty much tapped out on me. And so now I am back in the game, and it is my mission to share this technology with everybody that is living and breathing, because we need our stem cells to optimize our health and give us quality of life as we age, because over 90% of them, again, are dormant by the time we reach age 60. And so we just need to get our bodies back in the fight to heal and rejuvenate and regenerate our bodies completely, naturally. And the thing about this technology, the first few days, you have 4,000 cells that are already trying to reset to a younger time. At 6 weeks, you have brain coherence. So a lot of that inflammation and hyperactivity in our brain is resolving. At 3 months, we have increased collagen. And at 6 months, using these patches, your heart reverses in age by 5 to 7 years. So all the problems that you speak of about, congestive heart failure, needing, having heart attacks, arrhythmias, atrial fib, congestive heart failure, all those things, this technology will bring our hearts back by 5 to 7 years to an earlier point, that we may have not even been suffering from any type of heart implications. But as you know, heart disease and heart problems is the #1 cause of death for us. But in a nutshell, stem cell technology, we cannot live without our stem cells. And when they go dormant, our quality of life reflects that. I made a comment to someone in the gym the other day. I said, she was like, well, how long, do I need to keep wearing these? I said, it's just like plugging up your phone. My phone is about at 50% right now. So I'm plugging up the phone to give me that specific wavelength of light to charge that phone back up so it can optimize how it performs. That's the same way with these stem cell patches. We are using this patch to wake up our bodies and get our stem cells back in the health and wellness game. There are multiple testimonies about people being off their blood pressure medication, no longer diabetic, congestive heart failure resolving, dementia, PTSD improving because of those stem cells being activated, and it's getting our body back in rebalance, completely natural.
All right. Thank you, Yvette. And she's got a table right here. Lady Helen had a question. Yeah, she's... So here, use this microphone because we're streaming.
That is...
It's on.
That is, can you hear me? That is a copper peptide in our body. So basically, we have a lot of different peptides in our body They are the signaling component to our cells. The GHKCU copper peptide is the one that is linked to stem cell rejuvenation and reactivation. When that elevates, it sends that signal to our stem cells saying, hey, it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to get back in the health and wellness game with us. But we have so many different peptides. This is a specific peptide, kind of like Siamese twins, this peptide in our stem cells. So when that one increases, when the GHKCU increases, it rejuvenates and reactivates our own body stem cells. And you will see that in your, your skin, your musculoskeletal, you have decreased joint aches and pains when you wake up in the morning, brain coherence. You know how you go in a room like, Dad, what did I come in here for this time? Go back there, come back. Brain fog and brain coherence was a big, big issue with me. That's why I had to step away from the bedside, because I could not focus. I could not concentrate. And as a nurse, it is my job to heal and protect and don't cause injury or damage to a client. So that is why I had to step away, because I could not think straight. I did not have the mental capacity to function, in that capacity and even think about causing harm, because that's not why I became a nurse.
All right. All right, put our hands together for Yvette. And copper is a great supplement. And if you don't do the patch, a good copper supplement will help you with your joints and your bones, and will also reinvigorate the melanin in your cells, your pigments. And so I started a copper supplement just for fitness, and then I noticed that I was getting more black hair on my face, and I was wondering what was going on. I looked it up and found out that copper helps to reinvigorate the melanin in your pigments. And because as we get older, the pigments go dormant, the melanin in the pigment goes dormant, but copper helps to reinvigorate that. And if you're not going to do the patch, a copper supplement will aid with that. I want to thank my good friend Lyndon, coming all the way down from Shelbyville to be with us on today. Shelbyville, Indiana. I want to thank our RNs, Shauna RN, Tammy RN's here. Would you all stand real quick? Just stand real quick. They're shy. Can you all just stand so people can see you? Shauna RN, Tammy RN. And can you all put the camera over there on them so people can just see how wonderful and beautiful they are and awesome. They were the ones that checking you in today. So thank you. And certainly our administrator, Denitra, stand real quick. She helped put everything together, helped to make it happen. Thank you so much. Of course, Yvette Williams with the X39. Y'all check her out after we're done. Josh Atkins, Fueled by Faith Fitness. And he can do that wheel from standing. He can do it from a standing. Do you want to come do that real quick so they can see? Let's let him show out real quick. This is Danielle's husband, y'all. There's Danielle right there. All right, so he's going to demonstrate. He showed you how to do, can you all see? And he's going to put it on the camera real quick. He showed you how to do the basic, and that's probably where he started. But getting to this point right here is one of the top fitness areas you can get to, and he's going to show us right now. Isn't that amazing? Now that is really something. Thank you. That's good fitness right there. That's good fitness right there. So, but he didn't start there. He had to start out very basic, and I'm at that one point that he demonstrated when you're on your knees and you do that part. But your abs, your abdominal muscles are going to be strengthened. Your core is going to be strengthened. Listen, I'm glad that you're here You want to take care of yourself. Get serious about your health before the doctors do. Get serious about your health before the doctors do. Because whenever I've gone to the hospital to visit people and to pray for them, they've got RNs, they've got doctors, and people are running around and they're getting paid to look after you 24/7 to get you healthy. So if you get serious about it, now I thank God for the doctors. I thank God for the hospitals, our registered nurses, all these folks. I give God praise for them because they take care of us. I remember growing up, people used to pray and they would bind the doctors and cast the devil out, the registered nurses, God. And so those were all evil people. And I always wonder why they were so hard on these folks. But it's God that gave them the knowledge. We don't depend on them. We depend on God. But they are really great at helping us get back to where we need to be. The final thing that we're going to show you as we wrap up here in our final minutes, and we have a couple of rebounders up here. These trampolines, people call them trampolines, but they are rebounders. And these rebounders, if you just do 10 minutes of rebounding, it's the equivalent of doing 30 minutes of running. 5 minutes on the rebounder is the equivalent of 15 minutes of running. And the rebounder, of course, I do what they call Kangoo rebounding too. We call it bounce or Kangoo bounding, but it's rebounding. But this was the original rebounding. So I wanted to bring this out first because you can order one of these and have these at home. We have a couple up here if you want to try it out. And just 5 minutes on here, 10 minutes a day will change your situation dramatically. So it's not just the rebounding, but it's the science behind it. Rebounding, NASA had some information and data out that rebounding is the best physical fitness exercise that you can do. Out of all the exercises, strength training, running, jogging, tennis, this right here is the best one that you can do. Why? Because rebounding impacts every cell in your body all the way up to your ear tips. That's what rebounding does. Your body has, as Bianca told us, your body has more lymph fluid than it has blood, and that's the fluid around your cells, and we have just trillions of cells in our body. And so when you are rebounding on this right here, you are impacting every single cell in your body. So that's going to help you to lose weight. It's going to help to prevent inflammation. It's going to help detox you. In fact, we'll have Bianca come real quick. She's the expert on rebounding. And while I kind of demonstrate it, you can just talk about it. Put your hands together one more time for Bianca. And when we're just going to do this for about 5 minutes. And then you can, if you haven't checked in at the Wellness Center right here in the front, hopefully everybody checked in. Want to make sure you get your weight, want to make sure we get your blood pressure, all of that, all of these vital signs. We've got the oximeters in there. We want to make sure we get all that information so that if there are some issues, you can get it taken care of. But also be sure to make note of all of that so that you can keep up with your health.
Oh, okay. So the benefits of the rebounder, again, you pretty much summed it up. It helps to get your lymph moving throughout your body. And then also in your leg, a lot of people don't know this, but it's a pump that is in your leg, and it helps, you have to activate it. So this is activating your pump in the leg that goes back and cycles to your heart. So it gets the lymph moving, it gets all of that. It opens the detox pathways. That's one thing that, you know, people always talking about detox, but your detox pathways, your liver, your kidneys, all of those things, this helps to activate so that you can detox in the proper way. Yep.
All right. Thank you. All right, so if you want to try out the rebounder, it's free up here. Thank you for coming. I'm already a little bit winded. So like I said, 5 minutes on the rebounder. is the equivalent of 15 minutes of running, and 10 minutes on the rebounder is the equivalent of 30 minutes of running. So God bless you. I want to thank DJ up in the Eagle's Nest for streaming. And those of you who are watching, thank you for joining us. Why should you get well soon when you can get well right now? Have a good night.